I remember when I was 11 years old, a month or two after my dad got diagnosed, and we got the results back from the prognosis, and it was really good, like 80-20. And we had a little celebration, ordered a ton of Chinese food, and that night I was laying in bed between my parents, and we were watching a Seinfeld rerun. And suddenly I couldn't breathe. It was like the world was no longer filled with oxygen.
But what we really need to do is hone in on what you want him to think at the end of all this, okay? And why you're telling him this story. I mean, you're in a club, right? And you're going on about something that happened to you when you were 11 years old. You've got some real reason, some specific reason to say this to him. So what was the conversation leading to that first line? Never start until you've already had the conversation in your mind leading up to it, so that you're not starting with your first line is never your first line.
Right.
You're starting in the middle of the conversation, aren't you? You know, even if you want to just ad lib a little bit before you start, okay? And talk to him. Just talk to him and then get into the monologue.
Fez, I'm running low. You gonna help me out or what?
You know, you got yourself in such big trouble. I can't let that happen again. What if you die? I mean, it's all be on me.
I've had these problems forever, Fez. I remember when I was 11 years old. It was a month or two after my dad got diagnosed, and we got the results back from the prognosis, and it was really good, like 80-20.
So always let what you say be what he asks you. You mean really good? Yeah, like 80-20. Instead of going, it was really good, like 80-20.
Okay. I see what you're saying.
Okay, so let's just think about what it felt like to not be comfortable in your own body. Like my mind was racing all the time. You know, that's another line that she says, why did you relapse? Why did you relapse? Because my mind was racing. So, you know, my mind was racing. My parents were running around and they tried to give me something that I didn't really need. And finally, I got to the hospital and my mind's racing and racing, and they gave me liquid Valium. And suddenly, my mind stopped racing. See, this is part of a tactic to say, they gave me the liquid Valium, and all of a sudden, I was okay in my own body. Do you understand why that's a great tactic?
Again, yeah. Okay.
Yeah, but I remember the moment it hit me. What did it feel like? Like racing. I get there, give her something. Oh my God, I remember it hit me. And suddenly I could breathe. I could move. I could think. You have to feel that relief that you felt and convince me how great it was, right? Because I'm Fez.
And I remember the moment it hit me. I thought to myself, this is what I've been searching for my.
Now, how do you think to yourself? Because that was kind of an empty phrase. Do you know when you say, and I thought to myself, but if you say words that you don't think what they mean, they come out as empty. Do you know what I mean by that?
Yeah.
It's a bridge transitional thing to say. You know, I thought to myself, I've always wanted this. It gets you into that. You just have to think what every word means as you say it.
The thought behind it. Okay.
Yeah, because otherwise, if you say a word and you don't think what it means, it doesn't mean anything.
Right. They thought I had an allergic reaction or something. When I got to the hospital.
Can you talk about they were a bunch of idiots. Say that.
They were a bunch of idiots.
They thought I had an allergic reaction. That wasn't what it was. You know, so get me to the hospital. This is not what it is. See, you're still panicked, aren't you?
Right.
When I got to the hospital, somebody finally knew what they were talking about. Say that.
And when I got to the hospital, someone finally knew what they were talking about.
Right. That's the liquid Valium, isn't it?
Yeah.
Because otherwise it's just liquid Valium, and liquid Valium is
Yeah.
too important for it to be nothing, right?
Right. Okay. Right. That's like the turning point. Okay. And when I got to the hospital, they gave me liquid Valium to calm me down. And
Let's
I
go back and
remember,
say, they gave me Victim to calm me down because I needed to be calmed down. I was just so, because remember, to calm me down is what you need.
okay.
It's the big need. That's what you're going to need now, very soon, right?
Right. Okay.
If you were telling Fez, I need some liquid Valium, do you have any? So when I got to the hospital, they gave me what I need you to give me because I need to calm down right now. You see what I'm saying? Use it to get what you want. So I think
Suddenly,
I'd like you to try in that moment to go, because what does it feel like? I mean, have you ever taken um, a painkiller or a relaxant of any kind? So what does it
yeah,
feel?
finally like get the
Oh, that suddenly you're
peace.
floating on a cloud, right? There's no problems in the world. Nothing hurts, nothing scary. I can breathe. Everything is perfect.
I thought to myself, this is what I've been searching for my entire life, for as long as I can remember.
Good.
Because
Don't throw that
suddenly,
away because, you say for my entire life now, that's enough. You don't need for as long as I can remember, do you? Because you already said my entire life, but you decide to say for as long as I remember for a reason. So you have to
right,
use those words and make sense of you saying it. Otherwise, it sounds like you're saying it because it was written in the script.
yeah,
Suddenly has a lot of suspense attached to it. So you know what suspense is. It's like when you say suddenly the greatest thing that ever was happened, right? That's suspense. Like, suspense is like he slowly walked up the stairs instead of going, he slowly walked up the stairs, right?
quiet.
Suddenly is where you want to get my attention. You don't want to talk around me. Don't you feel you're kind of doing that?
Yeah,
You need to have, and when you're doing a monologue, you won't always have somebody there like me to be doing it to, but you need to have a focal point where his eyes are and say, Fez, this was so good. Okay. Because he's the person you got to change.
okay,
There's no reason to tell the story unless you convince me. You're not telling the story for
right,
yourself. You're telling it for me. Okay. It's not about you.
okay,
It's about me giving you drugs at the end of this. Now, you don't have to wait to the end to ask him for the drugs. You're asking for drugs with every sentence.
because suddenly the world went quiet and I felt safe in my own mind.
Okay, now quiet and safe are two different things. And it's a feeling, it's a well being that you never had before. So you just can't say safe and quiet, right? I mean, quiet. There wasn't those words. I had voices in my head before that, and it went quiet. And I felt safe. You need to experience those things as you say them, okay?
Okay, the world went quiet and
See,
I
now you
felt
can't say
safe.
quiet loudly. You went, the world went quiet, quiet, right? Be the word as you say it.
Okay, I felt
Make me be
safe.
quiet. See, it's a matter of trying to make me be what you say. I mean, you're being it by trying to make me be it. The world just went so quiet, shh, right? And safe. Keep me safe, Fez. Make the world go quiet for me, Fez, because that's what you're trying to get him to do, aren't you?
Right, okay.
Please make the world quiet for me again.
Suddenly, the world went quiet and I felt safe in my own mind.
Good. That was great. But it should be safe in my own mind, not safe.
Okay.
That was so much better, though. You felt the difference, right?
Yeah. I'm trying to think like the reasons of why she's saying certain things and not just like one big sentence, but like
Yeah,
trying to see the difference
it's
in the
really
words,
not
even
so
though it's like all
why. I mean, it is why, because the why is only one thing. That's your objective. Every single word needs to be to get him to give you drugs. You're asking for drugs with every single sentence. However, every word means something different. So what you're really thinking about with each word is not why, because that's all the same. You to do this, and I want you to do that. But every word, you need to be the meaning of the word. Because you want right now you want the world to be quiet and you want to feel safe. Okay. And you want to try to get across to him, the reason I need these drugs is because I felt crazy and everybody was running around. I needed the drugs. See, every single word is for getting the drugs, but you have to be what you're talking about as you say it. Does that make sense?
Yes. 2 years later, he was gone. My panic attack stayed.
So if he said, so you're cured now, and you should know now that you don't need drugs. So you're cured. No, 2 years later, Fez, my dad's dead. Okay. Things aren't good. It still sucks. Life still sucks. Isn't that what you're saying?
Yeah.
Life still sucks the big time. She goes, the world is so ugly in the other scene. It's just so fucking ugly. That's what she says in it. So you're still that person.
All right.
Good.
Will it eventually kill
one
me?
of those things is very different from each other. 2 years later, my dad's dead and buried. Right? I still got the panic attacks. I'm going to have one right now, as a matter of fact. Right? But I found a way to deal with it if you just give me the drugs. Okay? See how they're different?
All right. Okay. 2 years later, he was gone. My panic attacks stayed. But I found a way to live. And will it eventually kill me? Probably.
Okay. And are you right about that? Because he said something about it. So you can quote him, right? And will I die from it? Like we're so worried about? Probably. I don't give a shit. You're not, I don't think you're thinking when you say gone that he was dead. My dad died. Okay. The world sucks. I have no father anymore. Okay. Really think about what you're saying, because you can't just talk about your father dying without actually thinking about it.
And will it eventually kill me? Probably. So you still gonna be my dealer, Fez?
So give him a moment. Are you going to give me the drugs or not? So right. Don't you feel like you're rushing into that? After saying that long story, like you're hitting him with that so fast, and say, so think about that story. Don't you think I deserve to have some drugs right now? It's not like your time is up. Don't feel like you have to get something done. It's like you see the finish line and like you're going to trip and fall over it instead of actually go over it with full meaning.
I think I'm trying to think of like the other person or like Fez responding, but it's like I'm afraid to take up too much time like thinking of the other dialogue.
So you don't have to actually think his lines. What you need to do is know what he's going to say and react. It's reaction that you need, not thinking his lines. Because if you think his lines, you're him.
Right.
Right? What you think is what you are. You have to think your lines. Your lines are the reaction. So he's going, so you're cured. And you go, I'm not cured. My dad fucking died, okay? And I still got panic attacks. But at least I still have a way to live now. I have a way to live now. So, Fez, yeah? What do you say? Are you going to be my drug dealer or not? You see what I'm saying? There's no reason for you to rush.
Okay, yeah. I see what you're saying.
You can take all the time you need. The reason why I have you write the dialogue is not so you think they're lines. It's so that you understand you're responding to him, right? You're not just talking about. So you don't have to think their lines. You have to think how long does it take for him to say why, right?
Okay.
It was like the world didn't have any more oxygen in it. That's why. That you're answering rather than making statements.
Okay.
Let's take it from the top.
remember when I was 11 years old. It was a month or two after my dad got diagnosed, and we got the results back from the prognosis, and it was really good, like 80-20. And we had a celebration, ordered a ton of Chinese food. And that night, I was laying in bed between my parents, and we were watching a Seinfeld rerun. And suddenly, I couldn't breathe. It was like the world was no longer filled with oxygen. I was gasping, I was panicking. They called the ambulance. They thought I had an allergic reaction or something. And when I got to the hospital, they gave me liquid Valium to calm me down. And I remember the moment it hit me. I thought to myself, this is what I've been searching for my entire life, for as long as I can remember. Because suddenly the world went quiet. I felt safe in my own mind. 2 years later, he was gone. My panic attacks stayed. But I found a way to live. And will it eventually kill me? Probably. So, you still gonna be my dealer, Fez?
She was hard for the money, so hard for it, honey. She was hard for the money, so you better treat her right. She was hard.